Hi, this is Meet the Speaker as part of the WIDS Worldwide Conference 2021. Chances are that you're very familiar and somewhat in awe of our guest. She just gave a brilliant talk on ML and cancer research. I am
Thank you.
your host, Radhika Kannan, and during this session, we'll be talking to Dr. Geetha Manjunath. She is the founder and CEO of Niramai, someone who's truly at the intersection of ML research and practice. Geetha, welcome.
Thank you,
I'd like to lead
Radhika. Hi, all again.
with some Yeah, I'd like to lead with some questions that are like a deeper dive into your presentation from earlier this morning. First
Sure,
one, how are you acquiring the data that is needed to train and retrain your models?
sure. Just a quick recap. What we do is using AI for detecting early stage breast cancer. How do we acquire data? It's an excellent question because, as you heard in the talk, right, we just measure the temperature variations on the chest and analyze this, right? And these thermal images have to be high resolution. And also, we all know that though thermal imaging has been around for some time, it's not available in every hospital. So, definitely, that was a major issue. That is the data thing. So, what we did was two things. One, of course, I looked around for people like doctors who have already used thermal imaging to start with a bootstrap data set. We did get about 300 such data points where we could see a little bit. But then before that, we actually set up a collaboration with the hospital, in collaboration with a surgeon, breast surgeon, who was actually operating people who have already confirmed with malignancy. So initially, it was what is called as a pilot study, where we take only cancer patients and we did the thermal imaging and then said, okay, where is the ground truth? Where is biopsy saying where the cancer is? And is thermal imaging showing some signals of that? So there's a visual analysis of it. So we that was a first thing, and that basically we had to set up collaborations with hospitals, go through ethics committee reviews, scientific committee reviews to see that we are not doing any harm by doing this data collection. And in short, every one of the 35,000 women data, that is 150,000 images, were collected by us with all these procedures that need to be followed in a hospital setting.
Right. Interesting. What kind of tests do these algorithms need to pass before being actually implemented or put to use in hospitals and healthcare?
Another very good question because when we started this research in a lab setting, right? Typically, that's what most of us do. So we had a data set of these 300 samples that I mentioned, and we said, okay, let's divide it into 80-10 or 80-20 or 90-10 rule, like, where the training set is the maximum and the test set is small. And then there's a validation within the test set and all of that. So we started off almost like a lab setting, and then you could also do leave one out, and you could do k-fold cross validation and all of that. So all that is good just on your desk, right? Because that will only tell you whether your machine learning model is well formed, that is it works or can work, right? But it is not telling you whether it's generalizable. And also, these kinds of testings that are done inside the lab are not accepted by the doctors. So, what we have to do and what we did next was to do a retrospective analysis. So, first, we made it work on real data, I mean, which was captured in the hospitals, and then we did a retrospective analysis from these other data set, which was obtained by a thermographer. So here there is some other data set which is not from the same hospital, but you can actually try it out and see whether the sensitivity specificity is high or not. I mentioned sensitivity specificity. That means we do not look at accuracy or precision recall as such. We look at sensitivity and specificity as parameters or objectives of evaluation in a healthcare setting. Sensitivity is true positives divided by actual positives. That is, how many of the positive did you actually catch? And specificity is true negative by the number of actual negatives. That means how many of the negatives did you catch well? Because you can easily develop an algorithm which gets 96% accuracy because of the very imbalanced data. Only 4 out of 100 may have some abnormality. That means if you say no, you get 96% right. So that's why it's very important to see, did we actually get how many of the four right? So that's the sensitivity part of it. Okay, so after that retrospective analysis, for really making it go in the market, you have to do a prospective analysis. What is a prospective analysis? You build the model, you lock the model. The model is not learning on the go, but you put it in a hospital, and every time a new person comes in, you will have to say whether the person is likely to be malignant or not. And then there is this clinical trial setting where this answer is compared with mammography, ultrasound, or biopsy, a standard of care, reference test, as we call it. So this has to be done in a real life prospective setting. So all of these have to be done. And if your test is at least one sensitivity or specificity is more than 80%, then you are in the game. Otherwise, you have to go back to the lab and then keep refining it.
Okay. And because you touched on specificity and sensitivity, there's a related question. There's another related question. So they're asking how specific and sensitive is this breast cancer screening test, and can this be made into a universal cancer screening solution?
Yeah, good question again. So, as many of you who are data scientists know, the sensitivity specificity is at most limited to a particular cohort, a particular training set, or sorry, test set, right? So, having said that, we have done the validation on about 6 or 7 data sets now. In all of it, our sensitivity has been above 90%. Now, we also divide the cohort into symptomatic and asymptomatic. That is, people who have symptoms, who are diagnostic patients, and people who do not have symptoms, the screening patients. So, in screening patients, touchwood, we have 100% sensitivity, actually, with a specificity of about 93%. Whereas in a diagnostic population, we do have about 93% or above 90% sensitivity, I would say. Specificity is slightly lower, it's about 80% plus. Because diagnostic patients generally require multiple tests before they actually are put onto the treatment. So we are positioning our test as a screening test, which is done on every person, whether there is symptom or not. If there is a symptom, she's anyway anyway needs to go through diagnostic mammogram, ultrasound, MRI, and all of that. This will be yet another test.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's why early stage, screening.
Early stage.
All right. There's another question that's come in which says, when will this method be available for women in the US?
Oh, nice. I like the question because people want it. Yeah. So as many of you would know, right, healthcare release of a healthcare product is constrained by regulatory clearances that are required, right? And so so far we have got definitely regulatory clearance in India, and also Europe is almost done. Like next week we are going to get the CE certificate. Europe, Asia, and South Asia, all of these regions, and also MENA, because many other countries also take the CE marking of the device. And we also have ISO 13485 and all that. But for the US FDA is a much longer process. We are in that process, I would say. The first device, which is less risky, that is basically where it is helping a doctor to make a decision, is likely to be released in the second half of this year.
Okay, great. Thank you for sharing that. Right. So mostly it looks like apart from the US, you're working with these emerging markets, and in all of these places, affordability and accessibility is key. So how do you really plan to scale this in the face of all the challenges that you're seeing?
Yeah. Yeah, so COVID actually played a big trick on all healthcare startups, all companies, everywhere, everybody's life, right? Same way, even Niramai, had some difficulties in the sense that we were going full stream, lots of people taking the screening, and we wanted to scale it up and all that, and then COVID stuck, and many hospitals closed down any non-emergency kind of activities, including screening with mammography or nearby test. And then also women were discouraged to not to go to a hospital because there could be contamination and all. So what we did was to basically think on the foot, and said, okay, because our test is non-radiation based and it's a small device which can be put in a backpack, and you can go out. So we have now released home screening for breast health, which is the first ever time breast health check is being checked at home. And so two of our technicians will actually come home. You just have to register for screening on our website, and they just come in and do the test within half an hour at your place, right? With full privacy awareness, you'll be able to take the test also, and within a day you'll actually get the report signed by a radiologist as well. So this is a new service we have launched, and we are getting good traction for home screening of breast health as well, whether there is symptom or not. Right, both the people can actually take this test. Also, in order to now, beyond COVID or through it, now we have actually started uh, screening camps and so on, because you know um, our test is non-contact, so it's you can maintain the social distance, all the COVID precautions can be taken. So we have now fully on with screening camps in corporates, apartments, and hospitals, as well as outreach camps in villages. In addition, we have actually developed a mobile phone based solution, which is under testing, where we just attach a small thermal sensor to the mobile, and this will be a real low cost solution that can be kept in every village. Instead of hand examination, the doctor or a health worker can use this to say whether there is a likely to be abnormality or not. Of course, for follow up test, she has to come to a hospital where a full Niramai test will be done. But this will be the first triaging device that we are testing right now, and we really are hopeful that this can scale the solution, both reducing the affordability to like less than $1, right? So that is where we are moving.
So these technicians who handle these sensors and the mobile device, how tech savvy should they be?
Good question again, Radhika. So these technicians just need to know how to use a mobile phone or a computer. That's it. They need not be health like specialists or anything like that to train clinicians or nursing staff. We give 2 full day training on breast health and all the things related to thermolytic solution. And so one of the questions we asked is, do you know how to use Facebook or Google on laptop? They say yes, then they're almost past the test. Next, of course, the communication and understanding levels. And of course, there are tests about the subject as well. Because, like the previous question, right, scalability is a major issue, right? And the best way to make a solution scalable in Indian context is to make the solution or test doable by every person, even a health worker, right? And that's our aim. And the interesting part is, if the tool needs to be used by health workers, then the tool has to be smarter. So AI has to be made smarter and smarter. It's more technical challenge, and we are able to face the challenge now after 4 years. It's an excellent solution that can be in the hands of the health workers.
Awesome. So you also touched upon some other applications of this thermal scanning methods in healthcare, right, during your talk. So specifically around COVID screening, were there any concerns about privacy with the automated COVID screening?
Another good question, I should say, because what was rightly mentioned, right? So when we were working on this thermal imaging based solution for cancer, we said, okay, how can we help the COVID situation? So we took the camera, thermal camera, and placed it at like airports or hospitals and so on, offices as well. The good news is that uh, unlike the breast imaging, which does not, and we do not take an RGB image. Normal image is not taken, only thermal image. That is only, we measure the temperature. Same way, we only measure the temperature, and we do not see the features or a person anywhere in the public. So it's a completely privacy aware test, even in those places. However, there is a catch, right? If a person is found to be of high temperature, because a lot of people are walking by and you need to kind of catch the person to put aside, we really need a normal image as well. So the way our solution is structured is that we first do a face detection in the thermal field, whatever thermal domain, and then we measure the temperature. And then, as soon as a person is found to be slightly high, we switch to an RGB, take an actual picture of that, and then picture of the person, and then put. So that way, it is both privacy aware, and it takes the real picture only if needed.
All right. Okay. Yeah, that's interesting. So I think we have time for our last question. General question that's come around: how do you feel AI tools in general can help in India? Right? Like, what is the future?
Yeah, that's a nice question, and I see that we have 5 minutes, so I'll go all out. So I'm very, very passionate about how AI can help developing world, India, and other Asian, African, all of these countries, of course, in addition to the global scheme. I think AI can help in two main ways, right? Let's see the problem a little bit. I talked about the patient and to doctor ratio, 1 in 1,800. And this statistics is seen mostly in rural area where there's very, very few doctors, right? That is where a AI tool can become an additional skill enabler for the health worker. Like it's almost like a robo doctor. It's almost like a doctor, right? Sitting next to the health worker and then providing the immediate emergency care or immediate triaging needs, right? Which I call autonomous, which we call actually autonomous AI, right? Automatically trying to figure out if they can do the diagnosis that a doctor is able to do. The highest level of accuracies are needed. So with this, we are able to make a health worker become really capable of doing some quick triaging at the village level so that she can bring the person who is red to the hospital, not just for breast cancer, for all other diseases. Now, when you come in the urban scenario, what is happening is most of the high infrastructure for high quality healthcare is right in the urban area, and all the doctors want to be there as well, and all the patients also mostly come there because of the infrastructure needs. So what happens, the very good doctor expert is crowded with patients. How many hours have you waited to meet your doctor, really if he's very famous, right? And that's the way it is. So here AI can help the doctor be more productive, right? Me more error free, and also be faster as well, right? So the AI tool here is a friend of the doctor. The doctor first makes a diagnosis and then quickly checks, what do you think? And the AI can say something, and then you could the doctor can make a proper diagnosis, because it's like a second opinion. And also the other way is, first the tool can review and say, okay, these three patients look to be highly prioritized, very urgent, why don't you take a further look on it? So we could use a combination of the doctor and the robo doctor, which is the AI tool, to actually deliver a scalable, again accurate, and less error, right? More accurate solution in the urban area as well. I think that way AI has a way in every place, right? Even in healthcare delivery, be it making high quality healthcare affordable and accessible to the villages, or making the doctors who are extremely overloaded, they also have a life and they never take a holiday. So all this is possible if we are able to manage the crowd for them, and that also is what an AI tool can easily do as well. So I think AI is here to change the way healthcare is delivered in the future.
Yeah. And I think it makes more sense in the context of India with the kind of crowds and the fewer doctors. They must really be exhausted. We read about it in the papers all the time now, right? So that is true.
Absolutely.
So I will pick up some more questions that are here. So what, according to you, are critical areas that the research and tech community should be focusing on in the coming years?
I think the main thing is there's a lot of work done on the operational excellence, using AI for that.
Mhm.
We should actually look at areas where there is more data, more amount of high resolution images available, high resolution data that is available, which means that there can be scope for AI. Second, it can be like a tool to the doctors where it actually helps. So I think you should look at medical imaging in CT, MRI analysis, and all of these, which is huge. And even it's not like one disease; there are 10,000 such diseases. So you have huge amount of problems that you can pick, right? And also the second important part is personalized medicine, precision medicine. That is, how do you understand the user, understand users complaints and so on, and then map the treatment appropriately for the patient. So precision medicine and high resolution imaging analysis would be great topics for AI enthusiasts in healthcare, in my opinion.
Thank you so much for sharing that, Geeta. It's been such an honor to be part of this conversation with you. And we are all looking forward to seeing you grow and flourish in the coming years. So thank you for taking the time to speak with us
Th-
at WIDS Worldwide. Thank you so
Thank you
much.
very much,
Thank you.
Radhika. I really enjoyed and all the interaction so far. All the best for your data science career and happy Women's Day once again. Thanks a lot. It's
Happy
been a
Women's
pleasure
Day.
to be part of this program.
Thank you, Geeta.